Let's get back to it.
Differently?
Well, she was working at Bojangles, and she had brought food home, and she fed Quentin loved food, and every time he seen a bag, he would want it. He's little. She would feed Zane before she fed Quentin, every time. And I just thought that was strange.
So, do you mean she'd give Zane food and make Quentin wait?
Yes, ma'am,
I mean,
absolutely.
She wasn't physically feeding Zane at that
No,
point.
she would give him the food.
Just give him food.
And he would eat, and then Quentin would be, you know, whining and wanting it, and she would give it to him eventually.
Did you ever say anything to her about that?
I did not.
Are there any other ways that she treated the boys differently that you noticed?
Just by the way she talked to him, when she would, once in a while that she did come and pick them up, she would, you know, grab Zane and he would hug her because he was close to her. I mean, you could definitely tell it. And then, you know, Quentin, 99% of the time, wanted to stay with us, and he would start crying. Now, if Danny come and picked him up, it was different.
Okay. How did Quentin act if Danny came?
He would go with Danny. He wouldn't cry to stay with us. He loved Danny. He would, you know, Danny would pick him up and he'd hug him.
Okay. All right. Did Leilani ever talk to you about how she felt about the boys?
Yes, ma'am. She just, one time, and my daughter had more talks with her than I did. I didn't really talk to her that much. But she just said that she loved Quentin more. I mean, Zane more than Quentin. And, you know, I didn't question it. She's a crappy mom. I knew that. But I just never said anything to her. I would always call Billy Joe when I seen things that was going on.
Okay. Did she ever, in that conversation, did she explain more about, like, Zane had been through things with her?
Yes,
or anything
that
like
Zane had been her ride or die his whole life. And she did not like Quentin's father.
Okay. So, other than what you saw in your own home, did you ever see things outside? Like, did you ever observe the children at her house or outside their house?
On one incident, my daughter was going to our shed, that's where our laundry room is, and she had come running in and saying, "Mama, Zane and Quentin is in the ditch." Well, it was the road on Buckhalter, but the ditch is right here. And Quentin was actually in the ditch, and Zane was trying to get him out.
Okay. Did you go out and see the kids outside?
I did.
Okay. And at some point, were they returned home or took back to your home?
They was returned. I asked Talia to take them home and find out where Leilani was. I immediately called Billy Joe.
Okay. And observing these kinds of things, did you ever report it to any authorities?
It had been reported. It had happened several times even before we started keeping them that I didn't know about, and it had been reported.
Okay. Do you know what authority, if any, it had been reported to?
Defects.
Okay. And you say it had been reported, so were you aware of somebody other than you reporting it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if you could say yes
Yes,
or no.
yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay. And I won't ask you what they said since we're in court. I just need you to, say what you did and said. Let's move to the day that Quentin disappeared.